What's up, witches? Welcome, welcome. Come on in the building. Welcome to our weekly refuel session. Bunker Witches report the bunker doors are now open. Okay. Come on in here. Just making sure my mic is on and all of that good stuff. How we doing? How we doing tonight? What is up, witches? Say hello when you come into the room. Gonna get started in just a little bit with our welcomes and our hellos. Always wanting to introduce ourselves and share who we are, our businesses. Always important for us to be always practicing our pitches. One thing that I notice working with spiritual practitioners is that our pitches tend to be really general. We tend to not specify really who we're talking to, what problems we're capable of solving with our services and such. And so we definitely want to make sure that we are practicing that. It looks like we had someone here and we lost them. So maybe you got scared off at the idea of introing yourself and pitching yourself. Oh, maybe you're back. Maybe you're back. Go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know if you're in the room. Gonna let you introduce yourselves down in the chat with your name, where you're located, what is your business, what do you do, who do you help, what community do you serve, how do your spiritual services or products help them out, and go ahead and shout yourself out if you have any milestones or accomplishments this week that you want to big yourself up about, because I want to big you up too. We have our first vent session scheduled for December 22nd. So that'll be our opportunity to get out, any frustrations, any pent up energy about anything that's gone down this month in your witchy business world that maybe wasn't so great, wasn't so fun. But we don't want to focus on those too much. We want to make sure that we focus on our wins, no matter how seemingly big or small they are. Every step that we take is a step in the direction of being financially and emotionally, spiritually, physically independent through our spiritual businesses. So I definitely want to congratulate and big up anybody who wants to share their wins this week. Okay. That's always important to do that. So go ahead and drop down in the chat. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. I see a couple of you are in the room. So go ahead and drop down in the chat your name, where you're at. Let us know about your business or your business name. And I want to hear about those wins. And no win is too small. All right. If you showered every day this week, okay, sometimes that's all we can really do, especially as spiritual entrepreneurs. Sometimes that's genuinely the best that we can do. I know that I am very much looking forward to the Christmas week. I won't be celebrating Christmas, but HQ will be shut down, which means I will get to rest in a way that I don't get to rest most of the year. So I know that, that week, if I shower every day, that might genuinely be my biggest accomplishment all that week. So definitely shout yourselves out so that I can show you some love. I can shout you out. The journey of entrepreneurship is a very lonely one, or it can be. Definitely being in a space like this means that it's a little bit less lonely for you. There's 87 or 88 witches in the bunker. And so that's, almost 100 people that you can connect with. That hopefully will make your journey a little less lonely. But in our everyday lives, we're not always in the bunker, right? Weekly refuel is only once a week. So when you're not in the bunker, you might not have an opportunity to get praised for the things that you do, get praised for showing up and celebrated. I know I don't. Most of the things that I do on a daily basis, no one necessarily sees, especially with my one-on-ones and things like that. It's usually just my client that sees what I've done for them when it comes to personal milestones. It's just me. When I get up, the first time my alarm goes off, I feel like I deserve a round of applause, but there's nobody there to give me that. That comes from myself. So I don't want you guys to only have those moments where you congratulate yourself to be the times where you feel celebrated. So drop your wins in the chat. Let me know who's in the room. And it's funny too, because StreamYard uses like a little eye symbol for the people in the room. So it's like I literally know that your eyes are there. So like I can see you kind of. So I know you're there. I know you're watching me. So drop down in the chat who you are, because I don't know that, and who's in the room, what bunker witches have showed up for themselves, for their businesses today. I want to celebrate you. And this might be your win. Honestly, making it to the weekly refuel session might be your win. I think this is the fourth so far, and I've been alone in the room all 4 times so far. It's a big deal for you to be showing up because it's your first weekly refuel session, and I want to celebrate you for that. Okay, so drop your info down below. Say hello. While you do that, I'll intro myself. Okay. I am Alysha Kravetz. I am from the Bronx, New York. I am the owner of BronxWitch HeadQuarters and the CEO of BetterWitch Coaching. BronxWitch HeadQuarters is New York's only co-working space dedicated to spiritual practitioners. And BetterWitch Coaching is a class and coaching program for educating baby witches who want to become better witches through magical and entrepreneurial education. Super, super happy to be here. I would say that my wins for the week. One of my email automation clients got all of their emails from me, and they were super, super happy with them. Really, really pleased with those emails, and probably going to be coming on board as a member of the 6 weeks to launch program. And I also, I'm a shout out 2 wins this week. Okay. I also just got started on my social media for spiritual practitioners content bundle. Really excited about sharing this one with you guys because I have 4 times quadrupled, I guess, my followers on Instagram this year. And I'm really, really proud of that. I learned a lot, and I'm excited to share the different tools and templates and schedules and strategies that I employed in order to do that, so that you guys can see that same type of growth if social media marketing is important to your marketing strategy, which I imagine that it is. So that's underway, and I'm excited about that. Power of the Pivot is coming back around. My webinar on pivoting your business for those of you who are maybe struggling, maybe thinking about giving up. That's coming back around next week. And yeah, so much to celebrate, really, honestly. Super proud of myself and what I've done putting together this space. I'm super proud of, honestly, and showing up every week. So quite a number of wins, actually, Gotta take the time to pat myself on the back a little more often. All right. All right. Shout out to Mrs. Poo Poo. Pew pew. Hey girl. Shout out to Mrs. Poo Poo from Atlanta, Georgia. I don't have any wins yet because I've been Hexby for some time now. Okay, not sure. Hopefully I will gain a breakthrough. I just caught this live, so I'm all ears. Okay. Oh, I see. You are over on YouTube. I got it. Okay, I guess I must be public on YouTube. Lucky you. I don't think I planned for that. This is actually a private session. So it's cool that you got in. I always believe when things like that happen, Mercury is in reggaeton, right? So I always believe when things like that happen, it's in divine timing. So you must need to be here tonight, Mrs. Poo Poo. Just so you know, the bunker is a private space. It is my private virtual group for spiritual entrepreneurs. Okay, we have a private space inside of my online portal where all of my classes live, and the bunker is the stronghold. Okay, this is the place where the spiritual entrepreneurs in this community come to get resources, to get information. There's information on grants that you can apply to as a spiritual practitioner, small business owner. There's reading materials people have recommended, videos folks have recommended. There is a roster where folks can share what they do and who they are so that we can barter services with each other and connect with each other. And the diversity in the group is one of the things that I'm the most proud of. We've got everybody from hypnotists to tarot readers to Reiki healers but also, aside from spiritual practitioners, people with a whole bunch of really incredible professional skills. So we've got SEO and marketing experts. We've got bookkeepers and web designers, graphic designers, and people with a whole host of experience. So it's a really, really beautiful group. We have weekly refuel sessions on Fridays at 10 p.m. So this is what you're tuning into right now, sort of unintentionally, but I'm happy that you're here. And we also have one vent session per month. Our first vent session is coming up on the 22nd. And then folks who are in the bunker get access to a whole bunch of different benefits and things like that, free tickets to my networking mixers, and exclusive lives and other stuff like that. And basically the idea is, we're going into some uncertain territory, new administration coming in here in the US anyway, but most likely this is going to impact people outside of the US as well. And some really big changes to the social landscape, especially as it relates to social welfare programs and scholarships, grants, fundings, and things that are specific for marginalized communities. And it's really becoming clear, if it wasn't clear to people before, that it is time to be as financially independent as we can be. And our spiritual gifts are the gifts that God has sent us here with in order to navigate whatever this world is going to throw at us. So I'm really passionate about helping spiritual practitioners do their spiritual work full time and transition from working their 9 to 5s to running their spiritual businesses full time. So that's what I bring to the group. That's my expertise. So you're on YouTube, I can see that, and you've been subscribed to the channel for a while. Well, I'm very glad to hear that. Welcome, welcome. If you are, in fact, a spiritual practitioner, consider joining us in the bunker, as I imagine that our next refuel sessions will not be, the revolution will not be televised next time. So let's get into it a little bit then, since I think the folks that I keep seeing folks coming in and out, but they might be YouTube people, so they might be a little bit like, what is going on here? Instructions are on the screen to say hello. But I wanted to talk today about healing our money wounds. This is something that has been a topic that I've brought up a number of times over on my Instagram, which is where I post the most about spiritual entrepreneurship and things of that nature. And I think the reason I've been posting about that a lot lately is just kind of in response to my clients and the things that they have said to me and the reactions that they have had, especially when it comes to talking about their prices. And more than once, I have, audited my clients' services, looking at the services that they offer and giving them recommendations for raising their prices and explaining how to do that in a strategic way and the wisdom of that. And the response has been the same every time. There's been a lot of like nervousness and fear around doing so, to the point where some people have said like, I just can't, I literally just, I can't raise my prices. And that made me realize that like I needed to start talking more about some of the wounds that we carry as it relates to money, because spiritual practitioners, I think, have this issue more than anyone. um, it's so interesting to me to see folks who, you know um if I can, talk really plainly, be really honest, like who don't necessarily bring a lot to the table, who don't necessarily do anything that really contributes to people's like well-being, that really makes a positive impact in people's lives or in the world, and the complete comfort that they feel about pricing themselves according to their calculation of what their value is. And it is only my spiritual practitioners that seem to really struggle with that. We have a tendency to price ourselves, price our products based on either what we think people will pay, or what we um, see other people charging. Um, or that is based on, especially for my product makers, like based on a very basic calculation of like cost and labor, right? My candle supplies cost me $10, and then I spend an hour working on it, and so I'm going to just charge $30 for this candle, not taking into account that that candle, if it's an enchanted candle, if it's a spiritual candle, if it's a candle that's been fixed, if it's a candle that's been worked, if it's a custom candle for someone for a specific intention, that candle is the catalyst for something really significant in that person's life, that carries a value that goes beyond just the cost of the materials and, a like rudimentary calculation of maybe your hourly labor costs or something like that. And so we tend to focus on those things. We also, of course, one of the reasons why we're spiritual practitioners is because we are trying to serve communities that are in need of service. And so we will often price ourselves according to what we think those communities can handle. And all of those approaches to how we price ourselves are fine, like on their face, there's none of those are incorrect ways of pricing your services or your products. But what underlies the decision to go with one of those models versus the other is often a money wound. Okay. If that makes sense. And so, what I mean by that is if you're pricing yourself or your products a certain way because you have a community that you want to serve and you know what their budget is, or typically what their budget is, that's okay. But if the underlying reason um, behind your decision to price that way, like what you say is, I want to help this community, but what lies underneath is really like a fear of being judged for what you charge, um, a fear that you are not as valuable as the dollar amount that you've put on what you do, right? So, like some people would call that like imposter syndrome. You feel like you're actually not deserving, or if you feel like there's something wrong with having a price that maybe feels like it looks like you're putting money over your services, right? And you're worried about being judged about that, or you're placing judgments on that. If that's the real underlying reason of why you are pricing yourself a certain way, then that's a problem. Then that's a problem. That's where that pricing model then becomes a problematic pricing model. Does that make sense? It's not the pricing model that's wrong. These are valid pricing models that are used in industries all of the time. But if the reason why you're choosing to price yourself a certain way isn't actually because that pricing model is the best one for your business, but because you have some type of a blockage or hang up about money, then that is problematic. And the reason why that's problematic is because if that blockage is not taken care of, you're never going to be able to grow past where you are right now. And a lot of you are hoping that if you just get more people, if you get more followers, if you get more customers, if you get more clients, then that will take care of the problem. And it's not. It's just not. Um, the way to actually correct this issue is to address the money blockage that's underlying the decisions that you're making so that you can make decisions about how you price yourself, who you work with, how much you work, etc. All of these decisions so you can make them from a healthy relationship with money so that however much money is necessary for you to continue to serve your communities, you are able to get, and you're able to get it without having to overwhelm yourself with more clients, more customers, more followers, more content being created, right? The cycle that you will get into if you don't address the money blockage is that you will keep working harder than you have to, which actually makes you less capable of serving your community. So those money issues need to be resolved. And I have realized that. And even as I'm saying this, I'm definitely like preaching to the choir, like myself being the choir, because I know that my own prices need to be adjusted and they haven't just yet. But 2025, like Fat Joe said, yesterday's price is not today's price. So if there's absolutely anything you want from me or from my co-working space, BronxWitch HeadQuarters in the Bronx, like a membership to our space or membership in the Coven or anything like that, I would do that ASAP. But even as I say that, I want to like share with you in full transparency that these are things that I am working on for myself and have been for much of 2024. And I've made a lot of progress, but I still have, work to do. There are still um, hesitancies that I have around money and my relationship with it and the way that um, how you react to money and the relationship you have with money, how others might judge that and what they feel about that. So there have been some rituals and some things that I have done this year that have really helped me. I wanted to share that with you guys tonight. I also wanted to shout out Destiny Taylor and Kat Willett and Running Press for gifting me with this beautiful deck, Prosperity Mantras, which I think came out in October of this year. I love Running Press's decks. They have these little like flaps on the inside that hold the book, which I think is really cute. And then like this little box on the inside to hold the cards. So shout out to Running Press. I really love their designs, and I love the Running Press minis. We sold them at the shop for a while. We had like displays of the minis, and people really love those. So shout out to Running Press, Destiny, and Kat for this gift. I kind of did like a little unboxing post on my Instagram. YouTube is being ridiculous because word on the street was you can now post 3-minute shorts and it will not let me. And I am very annoyed by that because I would love to share that post on YouTube too. But it's a little over a minute. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought you guys are in 3-minute shorts now. Who knows what these platforms are doing? But the deck came with a gorgeous like diamond looking card holder and this diamond tipped gold pen. Okay. And this little journal and like my bougie spirits. I am a Leo. I also participated in a type of spiritual ceremony called a misa, and the person that was mounted in that ceremony, the spirit that came through, told me I had bougie spirits, which I thought was funny, and everyone in the room thought was funny because I don't think any of us needed a spirit to like tell me that. Okay. But you put my bougie spirits and my Leo self together, and honey, I like a nice thing, you know? So all of the accoutrement that came with the deck was just very nice, very fantastic. So thank you very much. So I want to pull a card from this deck for the collective. I pulled one for myself yesterday and got an unbelievably aligned message. So I wanted to pull a card from this deck for this collective, for my witchpreneurs, carrying us into 2025, and knowing that we are working on these money wounds, how we can do that. What energy can we embody? What message do we need to hear in order to help us to release these blockages so that we can receive the abundance that we are so very much deserving of as we build our businesses and move into 2025 as spiritual practitioners? And then I want to talk to you really quickly about some rituals that you might consider doing for yourself that I did to address specific money blockages. Because when you say money blockage or money wound, that's very general, right? We don't necessarily have all of the same. Some of us, we're all dealing with something different potentially, but there are like two or three like very typical money wounds that I wanted to talk about, that I've been working on, and share some rituals for that. Okay. It's one of my favorite teas. One of my teas, by the way, guys, Skinny Spice, because it's that time of year. I made a decision for myself. Okay. I said, girl, we doing everything different. We doing everything different. Okay. Every year, I'm like, I'm going to be in hot witch summer shape by the summer. I'm going to do it every year, right? And then I wake up and it's May 1st and I'm like, ah, shit. Damn it. Now I have 4 weeks to lose 97 pounds, or whatever. Um, and I was like, I'm just not doing that this year. So I did, for those of you who are familiar with my portal and the different classes that I offer, I have one called the 21-day challenge, right? It's just $21. And you get a new affirmation and meditation and action steps. That's the important part from me every day for 21 days. And you get a journal that you can print and keep track. And so when I want to jumpstart a new habit, I'll do my 21-day challenge for myself. So maybe like a month ago, 2 months ago or so, right before I started the bunker, I did the 21-day challenge for this time, for not so much losing weight, but to help me to develop the habit of being physically active regularly. That's really what I wanted to do, because I was like, if I become the type of person that needs to go for a brisk walk, needs to go, work out for a little bit, needs to do some crunches, needs to do a few minutes of yoga, needs to do some stretching, needs to do some weights. If I just become the type of person for whom physical activity and exercise is like regular, it's a habit, then I never have to worry about like, oh, I need to go on a diet, or oh, I need to try to lose weight for such and such time of the year. I just want to become the type of person who's physically active on a regular basis. So let me do my 21-day challenge because it's really good at building habits. They say if you want to build a new habit, 21 days of dedication to that thing is what you need to like, reprogram your brain and get it in there. So I did that, and I was very successful with it. I've been going for a walk or doing some type of physical activity at home pretty much 3 times a week ever since. So I've kept up with it. I started out daily. It hasn't been daily since I ended the 21 days, but I've been keeping up with it. And so I'm like, okay, if I keep up with it, it might not be like the fastest way to lose weight or something like that. It's a more slow and steady way. But I should be where I want to be by next summer. So, 2025, this witch is going to be outside. Okay. I am going to be outside because I am going to be in hot witch shape. All right. So let's go ahead and pull a card for this collective. Okay. Let's get a message for all of my bunker witches and for the witches who got to peek into our weekly refill session here. Cards are gorgeous. They are perfect for me. They are matte, which I love. Okay. I'll take a moment to give honor and thanks to our guides, guardians, angels, ancestors, and spirits. All of those high vibrational and divine beings that walk with us and come to us when called, asking for them to step forward to give us a message that is clear, that is guiding, that will point us in the right direction. I'm asking for a message specifically for my bunker witches, for my witchpreneurs, for all of my tarot readers and Reiki healers, candle makers, my hypnotists, my breathwork facilitators, my doulas, my yoga teachers. Asking for a message for them, help them to release and work through any blockages that they have around money so that 2025 can be the most abundant year they've ever had. So that their vision of replacing their 9-to-5 with their spiritual work can become a reality. So that they can be of service to their communities in whatever capacity and whatever extent that they want. So that financial freedom is a reality. So that independence is a reality. Security is a reality. Peace is a reality. I pray that every bunker witch, every witchpreneur that receives this prayer goes into 2025 never having to worry about whether or not there will be enough for the bills, whether or not there will be enough for the children, whether or not there will be enough for the parents, whether or not there will be enough for those we care about. The only decisions we will have to make in 2025 will be where to spend our money, what to invest in, what causes, what companies, what interests, what creations do we want to spend our money on, because needing it, being without it, is no longer a part of our reality. As I will, so mote it be. So first of all, a little message for me, because this is sitting at the top of the deck. For me, the coach, I know that Spirit is talking to me, because when I was praying that prayer, I was praying it just as much for myself as I am for all of you. And the message for the coach and for those of you who are also coaches is I release my resistance to stepping into my full expression. Definitely a mantra of mine for this year. Thank you, Spirit. That's so crazy. Even this card reminds me of myself. I have these gray purple dumbbells that I've been using while working out. And I was just talking about working out and she's in workout gear. Thank you, Spirit. I received that message for myself for sure. And for the collective, the guide. This is the message for you all. The guide. Very much giving hermit vibes. The message here is the universe always provides for me in miraculous ways. And for some of us, it's universe. For some of us, it's spirit. For some of us, it's God. For some of us, it's the all. For some of us, it's creator. For some of us, it's I. right? Whatever language you use to describe the overarching energy that is all of creation, that is all of existence, that has put all of this into play, is providing for you in miraculous ways. And it is so interesting that this message would be the guide, because the message is about being provided for. So you would think that, like, as the guide, that the message would be about how you show up for others or how you provide for others. But no, for all of my guides out there, which all of you are as spiritual practitioners, this is a reminder that everything that you need in order to do the work that you have come here to do is already, has already, and will continue to be provided for you in miraculous ways, meaning that they are ways that you could not necessarily anticipate or expect or orchestrate on your own. There's no level of figuring it out that would create a miracle. So if you're feeling overwhelmed right now about figuring out how to provide for yourself, figuring out how to make your business viable, figuring out how to support yourself with your gifts and with your spiritual practices, the message here is that that's not how you are going to be provided for. You're going to be provided for through miraculous ways, which are ways in which no amount of your meddling, no amount of your orchestrating, no amount of your trying to make it happen is going to make that happen. Miracles are out of your hands, but they will happen and you will be provided for. And this reminds me of a conversation that I was having with one of my clients last night. And again, with another client today. This conversation comes up a lot with me, because at least this is my, like, I guess, underlying philosophy about spiritual work, which is that if you put your focus, and I know you guys have heard this said before, I know you've heard it said before, so forgive me if it feels cliche, if it feels repetitive, and definitely forgive me if it sounds woo-woo, because it's really not that. But when you put your focus on helping people, the money comes. The money comes. And the reason why that sounds woo-woo is because people don't explain to you that that is actually a sales strategy. And the reason why that's a sales strategy is because people buy solutions. They buy solutions. That is what people pay for. That's what people pay top dollar for. That's what people pay premium prices for. When someone has a problem and you can fix it, that is where the most abundance lies. Whether you fix it or you teach them how to fix it, whatever it is that you're doing. But when someone has a problem and you are the reason why that problem gets solved, the money flows. So this is not about being like super, oh my goodness, I want to help the people. And, yeah, okay. But it's actually a sales strategy to put solutions first. It's a sales strategy to put helping people first, because that is how people shop. That is what people buy. That is what people consume. So keep that in mind as you move into your entrepreneurial path, as you build businesses around your spiritual gifts, that when we focus on the money itself, we often run into issues and we have lots of questions and confusion because we are frantically trying to figure out what's going to make me money, what's going to make me money, what's going to make me money, what's going to get me the most followers, what's going to get me the most clients, which at the end of the day all boils down to money, right? So when you put your focus there, it causes so much confusion because you're looking at how other people are doing it, you're looking at what theoretically should work. You're going to have all these things going on and you're going to feel like you need to do them all. You're not going to know which one to do. And when you do try any of them, you're most likely going to be diluted and not do them really, really well because you're also doing 3 or 4 other things. And instead, what you want to do is say, okay, out of all of the things that I can do, what is the thing that's going to help people the most? And then lean fully into that. And that is where you will find your abundance as a spiritual practitioner. And while you're on that journey of creating that thing, crafting that thing, getting it going, know that everything that you need to keep going is going to be provided for you in miraculous ways. You keep your focus on being the guiding light for the people that are watching you, that are coming to you, that are, consuming your content or reading your blog or thinking about getting a session with you or what have you. You keep your focus on being the guide, the guiding light, doing the thing that is going to illuminate the path for as many people as possible. And what you need in order to do that is going to be provided for you in ways that you never could have orchestrated for yourself. That's what makes them miraculous. Okay. Y'all with me? I know a few people are in the room. Let me know if that message resonated for you, especially if you're one of my witchpreneurs, especially if you're one of my bunker witches. Be the guide in 2025. And what you need in order to do that will be there. Okay. Now, if you are just coming in the room and you are in the bunker this evening, make sure to drop your name, where you're at, what's your business, share your wins. I'd love to shout them out. Love to give you a round of applause and celebration for what you've accomplished this week. And if you weren't here at the top, like I said at the top, if what you accomplished this week was just making it to tonight's weekly refuel session, drop that. I want to celebrate you for that. If your wins this week is just showering like more days out of the week than not, let us know. I want to celebrate you and I want everyone in the room to celebrate you too. So that's our money message. Again, shout out to Running Press, Kat Willett, and Destiny Taylor for the beautiful gift. Perfect timing. And in terms of my own experiences with healing my own money wounds, as I said, there were a few that I wanted to talk about because I think they're common. I was dealing with them, and there were a few things that I have done in order to work through that. So the first money wound that is very common and that I definitely was carrying was or is the wound of evil, dirtiness, corruption, etc. Right? So how many of us have heard or been told that money is the root of all evil, that money is corrupt, or that money corrupts people, or that it is dirty in some way, that something that is good, something that comes from the heart, something that is genuinely valuable should not be attached to like a monetary number. Let me know if you have either heard that or if you are self-aware enough to realize that you personally have, been conditioned to feel that way and have absorbed that message. Does anybody in here actually feel that way? Let me know if anybody's feels that way or have heard that. Because if you haven't felt that way, there's perhaps no reason for me to share the rituals that I have done to help me deal with that. It might be just me that was going through that, but I definitely realized, whether it's from growing up in a Christian home or just the fact that we live in a society that has certain ideologies that have permeated everything, even if you're not particularly religious, you might have some of those feelings. So let me know if anybody has that particular money blockage, and I'll tell you what I have done to help me work through that. This tea is so good. It's the cardamom. It's really cold here. Hendrix, you used to feel that. Oh, okay. So would you mind sharing what you've done to work through that? Is it just that because you're not Christian anymore, you were able to like let go of that when you let go of, maybe that religion or that religion's teachings? Did it kind of happen naturally with shifting your direction religiously, or was there something in particular that you did in order to overcome that? Here, I'll share that for folks who can't see the chat. And it's so interesting too, because like this is a message that is very much, I would say pushed. I think pushed is a fair thing to say. Pushed by the church, while simultaneously the church is the single largest landholder in the world, tax free, right? The wealthiest institution. Um, Clergy members, and especially the higher up in the church you get, you have some of the wealthiest people in the world in the church. So it's so interesting that the church really pushes this narrative of money being evil or corrupt or dirty, and yet at the same time has no problem with hoarding as much of it for themselves and taking it from regular everyday individuals in order to, line their pews with gold and pay for jets for their pastors and preachers. And so that is interesting. So Christianity junked up your view of money, but transitioning into witchhood, you've dedicated a lot of time to study tarot. And many people also study hard. It needs recompense. Okay, so studying tarot has helped you to move from that money wound. I love that. As a tarot reader, that's really special to me, for sure. If you've ever read any of Rachel Pollack's books, like 78 Degrees of Wisdom or Walk Through the Forest of Souls, tarot can be an incredibly helpful tool, not just for divination, but also for like self exploration. And a lot of people who are not particularly like not necessarily very much into spirit conjuration or spirit communication use tarot that way. It's just a way of like better understanding themselves. And so it's great that tarot has helped you to adjust your view of money. I'll tell you what I did to work on this. What I did was I decided to personify money. And I'm sure this isn't my idea. I'm sure I got this like offline from somewhere and I just don't remember where. So I can't give credit to who I heard it from. But what I decided to do, and this is a ritual that might be beneficial to those of you who feel like money is evil, dirty, wrong, etc., is to personify money and connect with the energy of that individual. So if money was a person, what would they be like? And you can write this, you can journal this. For my really techie people, you can even use AI for this. I've been using AI to help me with my visualization. I asked AI to tell me the story of like a day in the life of my future self. Um, it's been incredibly helpful with things like that. So for my techie witches, you could use AI and ask AI to like create an image. If you're doing like AI generated images or like the word ChatGPT, you can say, describe money for me. If money was a person, or of course you can do it yourself, journal about it, write it out, draw. If you're an artist, what does money look like? What like do they have a gender? What is it? Are they tall? Are they short? What do they smell like? How do they dress? What would money do on a Tuesday afternoon? How would money like spend its day? When we want to make something out to be something that it's not, when we want to make something seem evil, when we want to make something seem gross, dark, etc., um, we dehumanize it. And, I'm sure that we all have seen this in, I'll probably get flagged if I say the word, but like attacks on large groups of people. We will see how the press on the other side will refer to people as dogs or roaches or cockroaches or, rats or, they'll call them migrants or like they'll use objectifying words instead of saying like people who are fleeing from danger, people that are living in inhumane conditions, etc. Like they will instead take away the human element and they won't use words like people and families and children. They'll call them other things, right? So when we want to make it easy to put something down or treat it in a less than deserving way, we will take away its personhood. So do the opposite with money and do a little writing activity or a visualization activity for yourself where you turn money into an individual. And once you do that, now you can start connecting with that energy in a way that you couldn't before. And connection is what allows us to understand anything better. So by developing a connection with money, you get to understand it more. And that's what happened to me. When I did this exercise, I did it in a meditation, and money came to me as a guy. And it was so interesting because what he helped me to see was that he and wealth were not the same. And this is my visualization, by the way. So I'm not saying that this is how it would be for you. But what money taught me was that money and wealth were not the same. That wealth was feminine. That wealth was like, I always think of like the grandma tree in Pocahontas, the movie, the Disney movie, a weeping willow, very old, very strong and huge and deeply rooted into the earth and regenerative and always giving life and always giving wisdom and kind of beyond, our everyday activities. Money, though, did not come through that way. He came through as very young, very skinny. For me, he was a Black man, but I mean, I might be kind of biased in that regard, but Black man, a lot more flashy, dressed kind of like in a, y'all watch the cartoon, The Boondocks? What is it? A pimp named Slickback? Cat Williams' character who plays a pimp, he kind of looked like that, like purple suit and a hat, thin, wiry, very moving, very masculine energy, very quick, more air, more like swords type of energy. If I were going to put it in the context of the tarot, more swords than pentacles, very swift moving, smart, quick on his feet, and very like flighty, very flighty. And he loved to be loved, right? Like if you didn't like him, he was going to quickly be like, anyway, not having you, okay, like you're not gonna ghost me, you're not gonna swerve me. Like, do you know who I am? Like, I'm money. Like, I do so much. Like, I make things happen for you. Like, it, like, very much like a pimp. Like, if you get in good with me, like, you will be taken care of, you will be protected, you will have clients, you will have respect. Like, I will take care of you. You know what I mean? And it needs to be reciprocal. There needs to be reciprocal energy. You have to respect me. You got to put some respect on my name. Like, you can't be out here in these streets talking about I'm the root of all evil and I'm corrupt and stuff like that, and then come back over here and think that I'm going to give you like a warm place to sleep at night and take care of you while we out on these streets. Where they do that at? Why would I do that? You know? So he helped me to understand that, like, if I did not realize how money was able to provide for me and help me out, and that this needed to be a mutual exchange, and that I couldn't look at him as somebody bad if I wanted to have a relationship with him. And all of that is subjective, right? Some people might say, listen, I don't care what that individual does for me. I don't want to have anything to do with it. No problem, right? You should probably go into like nonprofit work and stuff like that. But for someone like myself that wants to have a for-profit business, we need to have a relationship. We need to be good. I have to accept and understand that I am navigating in a territory in which this individual has power and has a say. And I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. I don't have to be an entrepreneur. I don't have to be in business. I don't have to do anything related to finance. I could do a bunch of other things. But I want to build businesses. I want to build financial security for myself and for my people, my communities that I'm a part of. I want to improve my own financial literacy. I want to help others do the same. And so if I want to navigate in this space where money is in a position of power, then I got to get with the program. And I don't get to say what the program is. I don't get to come in there and be like, we're going to do it my way. We're going to kumbaya and talk crap about money, and he's just going to show up and work for me. I don't get to do that. So by turning money and the energy of money into a person, a personification that I could really like talk to and connect with, it started to really change how I thought about money. One, it made me realize that money isn't evil, corrupt, etc., any more than any person is. That just like me, just like a person, money can be used by someone to accomplish evil ends, but that doesn't make the money evil. And so that was hugely, hugely impactful. So if you have that type of blockage, if you feel like money is evil, corrupt, etc., then personifying them, doing a ritual, writing it out, like actually like really creating this, give him a name. Okay, give him a name and be like, hey, let's get to know each other, and he might not come through as a pimp like Slick Black for you, right? But however they come through for you, be like, I want to get to know you. This is what people say about you. This is what I've even said about you. My bad. But I want to get to know you myself. What's really the deal? What's your energy? What are you all about? And that is a super effective ritual for that particular type of money blockage. Okay. I may have created a servitor to oversee my money altar. I use their guidance to balance my expenses. They have never been wrong, and I learned that the day I misused money, I still now am in need of. Okay, a servitor. Yeah, for people who don't know what that is, a servitor is a manifested entity that you put in charge of something, and it has a specific task, and oftentimes also has a specific timeline in which it exists until it accomplishes a certain thing. Think of I have a lot of cartoon analogies today. I wonder if it's just cartoon lovers are in the room. But if you ever watched Rick and Morty, shout out to Rick and Morty, greatest, like such a great cartoon. But if you've ever watched Rick and Morty, there's a character called the Meeseeks. And the Meeseeks literally just exist to serve. You call on them, they live in a box, you pull them out, and you give them an instruction, and then they exist for as long as is necessary to help you with that thing. And then once they've accomplished it, they literally just disappear, they cease to exist. So a servitor is like that. You give it a task, you manifest it for a particular reason, and that's a really great way to use a servitor to oversee your finances and help you with your expenses. That's a great way to use magic. Would that be considered a conjuration? I don't know. That's a question for my hoodoo teacher. But that's a great way to use magic to help you with that. Okay, so that's that type of blockage and how I would handle that with a ritual or some type of money work. The other type of blockage that is very common is about undervaluing ourselves, and being afraid to ask for the amount of money that is really needed. And so this is a different blockage. This is for those of you who don't necessarily think that money is evil or corrupt. Maybe you don't really carry that, but you're more struggling with your own valuation of yourself. And you are hesitating to raise your prices or price yourself in a certain way because you're afraid that either people are going to judge you for it and say, oh my God, you're not worth that. Or you're afraid you're going to scare potential clients off because the number is maybe going to seem, out of their pocket, or the number just seems like an expensive amount. And in our refuel session a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, I shared with my bunker witches. And again, if you're on YouTube, you guys are getting treated to this weekly refuel session. This is usually a private weekly session that I have with my bunker witches. You can check the description for information on how to connect with me if you are a spiritual practitioner, be a part of the bunker, get coaching from me, etc. But for my bunker witches, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about I taught you my pricing formula, essentially. I have a more in-depth pricing formula that is a downloadable template that I share with my coaching program clients. But I kind of went over the gist of it in our weekly refuel session. And the gist of it starts in the opposite direction from the way most spiritual practitioners price themselves. So usually you price yourself based on what you think people will pay, or what you think a certain service or product is deserves or is valued at. And then you just hope that you'll have so many of those, you'll have so many clients, you have so many products sold that you'll reach the amount of money every month you need to replace your 9-to-5 or fully take care of your expenses. And that's the opposite way of doing it. What you want to do is start at the top and say, how much do I have to make from this in order for me to pay all of my expenses? And then from there, you say, how many clients or products sold do I think is a SMART goal, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound? What amount of clients or customers in this month is a SMART goal? And then I divide what I need by that amount. And then that amount is what I charge people for the thing. And if that feels like not accurate, like if that number feels too big for what it is that I was planning on offering, then you add more things into the package. Okay, you add more things into the package, or you make the item even more exclusive, even more high end of materials, right? So you have this amount, you divide it by your SMART goal amount of clients or customers, and then that will give you your price. And if you're like, okay, wow, that's a really high price for the candle I was originally thinking of making, now you say, okay, well, I'm going to make a much more premium version in order to rise to the level of that value. But you don't drop the price, you improve the product or you increase the service. Maybe the reading goes from 15 minutes to 45, etc. And that is a much more sustainable way and also a faster way of getting to the amount of money you need to actually sustain yourself with your spiritual practice. Now, where people get hung up on that, because the math of it makes perfect sense, but where people get hung up on that is they freak out about that price and they wonder whether or not they are deserving of that. And my answer to that is, again, to bring it back to who you're serving. When you see that price and you're worried that you're not deserving of it, it's most likely because you're thinking about all of the possible people in the world that could interact with that price. When really you should only be focused on the people whose problems would actually be solved by whatever you're making or whatever you're offering. Those people are going to have no problem with the price because they are here to get their problem solved. Okay. They may not necessarily be able to buy today, but the price is not going to be the problem. The price is going to be their own financial situation, and then they're going to go work on that and come back or what have you. But the only people that would have an issue with that price would be people who, for whom your product or service was not solving anything. If someone doesn't need what you offer, if your solution is not something that they need, it doesn't matter if your price is $500 or $5. They're going to be like, that's not worth it. Because to them, it's just not worth it. It's not the price that makes it not worth it. What you offer is not worth it to them because they don't have that problem and they don't need that solution. And when we allow ourselves to get distracted by those people, then we end up making choices that ultimately are harming us and making it harder for us to do our work. When you see people who are selling a product or offering a service for a price and it makes you go, whoa, that's expensive, you're not their customer. You're not their customer. Whatever they are offering is not needed by you. Because if you did need it, and if you were confident this person could solve your problem, your question would be, okay, how do I get this? Right? So keep your focus on the people who you actually solve problems for. And make sure that you're solving problems, I guess, is an extension of that. If you know that what you do solves problems for people, if you know that when you do tarot readings, you give accurate messages that have helped people through all types of situations, I know that I am able to charge what I charge for my tarot readings because there are people who right now would tell you that the information in my readings have saved their lives more than once. That's my truth. That's my reality. And so I don't need everybody to understand why a reading with me costs a certain amount. Only people who have the problems that I can solve need to be concerned, and I need to be concerned with them. Okay. So that's how I would address that particular blockage. Um, I think those are the top two. Yeah, I think those are the top two. Okay. Thinking that money is dirty or evil. And the way I would handle that is creating a ritual where you personify money and actually get to know that energy. And the other is feeling some type of hesitation to charge what you actually need to make doing this work possible. And the solution for that isn't so much a ritual as it is a refocusing of your attention and never letting yourself get distracted and thinking that you are here to serve everybody. You're not. You're here to serve the people who you are being called to solve problems for. Hey, Kiera in the building. Money for me has always been mercurial. It comes and goes, but there is a lot of luck attached. The thought exercises you mentioned have really made me think, though. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. Um, Yeah, luck is an interesting one. Luck is a little bit of a different energy for me than money, but they go together real bad. They're definitely like seeing each other on the side, right? People often talk about luck as a feminine, like lady luck, and I feel that way about her. Um, so that's interesting that for you, the two of them are like attached. Um, And for me, I don't know. This is just for me. I don't know if money comes and goes so much as it ebbs and flows. And maybe this is really the same thing and we're just describing it in different ways. But I just sort of feel like money comes around more often when the environment is good. Like he goes where he's appreciated. He goes where he's going to be multiplied. He goes where he's going to be celebrated and bigged up and used and called on. And he tends to not hang out in places where the vibe isn't right. Um, so in that way, he kind of like strengthens his presence. Maybe that's the same thing, I guess, comes and goes. So all right, we're running over. Witches, YouTube witches, congratulations. You got a little sneak peek. Oh, the lovers card. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They are like a pair, right? Um, so YouTubers, you guys got a sneak peek into the weekly refuel session. This is a weekly session for my bunker witches, witchpreneurs. The bunker is our private virtual group where we share resources, we are connecting with each other, getting to know each other, bartering services, exchanging information. I'm dropping grant info, I'm dropping book recommendations. We have a weekly refuel session where we pitch our businesses and celebrate our wins, and a monthly vent session so that we can also get some of the stressful days off of our chest as well. And it's a beautiful space. It's coming along. It all came birthed out of the election. I was thinking about it right before, and then the night of the election, it like came to be. And that morning after, I was trying to figure out what to say, trying to make a post to kind of share with the world, like what did I want to say? Boo the election. I have a slightly different take on it. Um, and as I was crafting my response, the word bunker came through because I'd been trying to figure out like, well, I want to put together a private group for my witchpreneurs. Like we need our own hangout session that's like not just like the YouTube comments or the IG comments. Like where do we go? And that was when Spirit spoke to me and said, well, we got to go into the bunker now. This election is about to shake things up dramatically. And a lot of the social programs that we have come to rely on to help support us are not going to be there anymore. So, how do we make sure that we have financial independence without these things? So that whether they're there or they're not there, we're fine. We can continue doing our work and we can continue serving people and being there and being healers and being readers and not have, poverty basically prevent us from being there for the people we care about. And Spirit said, we gotta go underground. We gotta go in the bunker. We gotta have a safe space where we can get resources, information, and connect with each other so we can go back out into the world. And so the bunker was officially born the day after the election. So for me, I don't really say boo the election because it birthed something so wonderful for me, and also really lit a fire under me to make sure that that my spiritual business is helping others and also is as strong as it can be going into this next 4-year stretch. So, but that's just me. I'm a silver liner type of person. So shout out to all of you witches that tuned in tonight. Again, congrats, YouTube witches. If you are watching this on YouTube and you want to be a part of the future weekly refuel sessions, if you want to get into the bunker, if I haven't put a link in the description of this video, I'm definitely going to do that, or I'll drop it down in the comments. Join us. You get 7 days free when you come on board. So you can come in, say hi, announce yourself in the roster, get to know the space, check it out, see if it's for you, and be a part of it. And for everybody else, have a really beautiful rest of your evening. Bunker Witches, I will see you next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about visibility and social media. And I have a pretty great thing that I'm working on for you guys. Okay. I'm putting together a content creation calendar specifically for spiritual practitioners, a 30-day calendar telling you exactly what to post, CTAs, hooks, ideas for what the post should be. So if social media is a big part of your marketing strategy, as I imagine it is, you will have guidance on how to do that as a spiritual practitioner. So you're not doing TikTok dances and other things that don't feel authentic, but that speak to who you are and to your community. So I'm putting that together for you guys. It should be ready by next week. So next week, we're going to get into social media marketing strategy in the refuel session. That if I set it up right, that should not be on YouTube. So definitely, if you're on YouTube and are interested in that, make sure you get into that space. I am teaching my next free webinar, The Power of the Pivot, on Wednesday, the 18th at 7:30 p.m. So for those of you who are spiritual practitioners that are maybe on the verge of tapping out, you're not launching your business, you've already started one, and maybe the last year, the last 2, the last 3 years have not been what you had hoped that they would be. You're not seeing the sales, the revenue, the reach that you'd hope that you'd be making, and you've kind of run out of your options in terms of figuring out what you're doing wrong. Don't give up. Please don't give up. Watch this webinar first. Let me give you some ideas for what, first of all, could be going wrong, and 2, how you can strategically shift into something more profitable and purposeful. So definitely hope to see you all there. You can find all of my classes in the online portal. There's definitely a link in the description for my classes. So head there, and I will see you all soon. Have a beautiful night, everybody. Oh, Coven Witches, high tea is tomorrow night too. Okay, high tea tomorrow, and Witches of Color on Sunday. We got a lot going on. If you guys are just casually checking it out and not getting involved, you are missing out on a lot. High Tea Live is in the Discord, the Coven Discord tomorrow. I'll be reviewing and recapping 2024 and all of the spells that I have cast that have been successful. We're going to look at what worked and what didn't, if there's anything that didn't. And then Sunday night is Witches of Color. That is the support group for POC witches specifically. We're going to be talking about what we're doing in 2025 because I've got some cool ideas and I want to run them by you. So get involved in this community, okay? YouTube is just the tip of the iceberg. Follow the links in the description box to get involved with this community. 5 years strong. All right, witches, have a great rest of the night. Blessed be.